Hey, wardrobe here. Pretty excited to get this one because the cover art's so cool on this. Drop Zone Saint Mère Eglise from MMP for the Advanced Squad Leader system. And it's a historical module. And as I've said many times, this is really the way I want to approach ASL is through the historical modules and not necessarily through the geomorphic board scenarios. It does challenge me though, because they're more complicated because they often add special rules to reflect the fighting around St. Mère Eglise. They can also have special rules in the geomorphic scenarios, because I guarantee some of these scenarios have already been covered in geomorphic boards, but they tend to spend a little time on the terrain and other special things, as we'll see. Like one of them that's kind of fun, people are commenting on it online, but it is cool that they included it. So some great cover art here. You see I assume this is the famous chapel or church that you see in St. Mère Eglise at Longest Day, and got the 82nd Airborne really going at it. Just 2 days worth of fighting. Let's see what the back looks like here. You do need at least Beyond Valor and Yanks for this, so you do need at least 2 modules to play this. It's pretty standard, common thing. What I'll do here is I'll try to be still on some of the items so you can kind of take a look at them. Spend a little time sitting on here, so I don't know if you can really read that, but I guess I can kind of try to zoom in a little bit here. But it's Operation Overlord, and it's the airborne invasion inland from Utah Beach. And St. Mère Eglise was the town. There's several towns represented, which we'll see on the map. It's a crossroads for the 4th Infantry Division as it was going to fight inland. So they're fighting to get these ready. I don't think that you won't be seeing the 4th Infantry Division in these scenarios. It's just clearing out the town and keeping it from counterattacks and things. Yeah, you might see it here. Those are cows. So that's the kind of special stuff they do. It looks like they also have some special troops. I don't know the system well enough that why some of these are included, how different they are from other troops in the base game. But like I said, it's the 6th and the 7th. It's got 3 22 by 30.5-inch maps, 1 counter sheet, 11 scenarios, 1 chapter SM, which is St. Mère Eglise, that's all the special rules, and 3 ASL campaign games. So really in a campaign game, you really can't count as one scenario because it's usually several scenarios, but you could say 14 scenarios, but it's really more. And just normal, high complexity solitaire. That doesn't usually change anything here. So let's open this bad boy up here and see what we got. So let's, I'll just go ahead. I already got the plastic. I couldn't help it. I got this in the mail just as it was, as we were getting ready to drive somewhere. So I put it in the car. I almost did the unboxing in the back of the Jeep because I thought it would have been funny, but I didn't. So let's just take everything out of the box here just to make it easier. Got your, sheet of paper like the 2 half squads like so much. I'm actually going to change something here. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time sitting on these pages here, but just kind of show you what some of the things are. So these are the special rules for the module Jeeps. They got some special stuff going on there, some concealment things. Talk a little bit about like the village square, the building and road combos, the bocage and gaps, and how they might be different than your normal rules, normal terrain rules, and shows the setup of the map. So it's interesting, they set up a long way. So we'll see that when I set it up on my floor. And this just goes on, like giving examples, burnout wrecks, and different things like that. Like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time sitting on these. Talked about the cows and what happens when they're dead, and then if there's a blaze in there, they're eliminated. I say it smells delicious, and it gives your troops more energy as they eat the yummy steak. So just all that stuff. Different fire for effects, and then we get into the campaign. The campaign rules, and talking about escaping, what happens if there's a melee going on, what happens, this is so in a campaign you play a scenario and then stuff happens in between each scenario, like, do people escape from it? Campaign game number 1 is Together We Will Raise This Flag. and it covers the 6th of June morning, 6th June afternoon, and 6th June night. Talks about all your purchases and things that you can do there. Second game is Liberation Road. That's 7th June dawn, 7th mid-morning, 7th afternoon, and 7th evening. So you can see there's 3 and 4 scenarios. And then Kraus and Vandervoot. And then this covers the whole 2 days. And they kind of give somewhere, it's all the purchasing and all the things you can do, reinforcements. It's a lot. It's pretty cool. I've never played a campaign game. And then footnotes, just talking about areas of the game that matter. And then a little map here to see if you want to do some campaign planning and some other stuff. And then the purchase, the game roster, what you're going to do there. Okay. Blank sheet of paper. Famous. Famous. Thank you for buying. You're welcome. One of the maps. I did notice one of the maps already kind of wearing out on an edge, which is interesting. On the fold. I'll show that. Campaign Force, Game Force Organizer. This is pretty normal, I believe. Another map picture. Kind of wish that was in color. Another map. Let's take a look at the counters. I'll just sit here for a minute and let you peruse. Let's see, maybe I can zoom in a little bit here. So I'll sit there and take a look. Again, I really should have pulled out to see if the counters, how different they are. But you got your second line and, of course, elite, all that. Everyone will be elite. Everyone will be airborne like that. Got your steeples. That's pretty normal. You got your gliders, which I believe are in the units. Anyway, you got martyrs. Just a couple martyrs. And I'd be interested to know. I don't know where the Panzer Division was that had the French equipment. I thought it was against the 82nd, but maybe it wasn't. Wall advantage, burnout wrecks, your cows, of course. Berserk, okay. Lots of wall advantage because you got a lot of bocage, so that's important. I do like the, so usually it just says Allied control or, Axis control. It's got the German or American symbol. So this is cool. It's got the division symbols too, so that's kind of neat. Pontoons, that's interesting. Open ground. Hindrance because the dead cow, that's just lovely. Parachutes, gliders. That kind of stuff. I did notice something about self-rallying. I think you're able to self-rally 2 units, but so that was different. Okay, so that's the counters. Another map. I guess I'll just set those all up on the. Well, I guess I can. You know what? I'll open one and we can kind of look close at a piece. The campaign. Oh, well, that's not doing any good. Sorry about that. Campaign roster again. So hold on real quick. So we'll look at the scenarios. I'll kind of show them like this, so just so you can kind of see, but without yet showing everything on there. The turn, lost opportunities. This is the first of 11. So that you can see it. I can sit on there for a second and kind of see what you do. I'll use a portion of one of the maps. Okay. These cards are very thick. The paper they use is almost like, it's very thick and kind of nice. There you go. It's pretty small, relatively small scenario here. 8, 9. Yeah, 9 units plus a couple liters against 9, a couple liters. So that's nice. Little section, 6 turns. So seldom practical. Number 2. Number 2. The roadblock. Like this guy crawling on the tank to take the cover off the gun. I'd say this is a little smaller, but you got Germans. You got 19 Germans plus some other stuff, a couple tanks. It's a little bigger. Plus you can see the number of Americans. It's actually less, but you got your guys coming in there. Get your elite boys in there. That small section on NE, sorry. Raph's Dilemma, which I believe is a scenario name already. Either a starter kit or something. Pretty sure I've seen that somewhere. Got a bunker here, trenches, foxholes. It's a relatively small one. You got some tanks, so that adds a little bit to the thing. And then Raph's Distress. So distressed. Ooh, the Wacos come into play. You can't see them since I'm not showing you the whole thing, but Wacos come in, so that's cool. That's 12 units against that number. That's fun. 7 turns. Sound and Fury, number 6. And fairly small, relatively speaking, which is kind of nice. Good for me since I don't know the game that great. But you can play some of these small scenarios to learn the terrain. This is also interesting. This is a cover on another game company's scenarios. One-man wrecking machine. It's interesting. Again, relatively small number of units. Number 8 is Without Thought of Numbers. 10 Germans against 7 Americans. Plus, I guess, a hero there. Okay. Confusion Reigns. 7th of June. Looks like these go in order, date-wise. There's only 2 dates, but 5, you can see kind of. I'm just kind of wanting you to let you all take a look, and obviously, like I said, I'm not showing them all. About 12 American units there attacking. Ridgway's Mission. I was a little surprised to see. I was like, the guy was like, is Ridgway? Doesn't have an E in his name. That's kind of interesting. Lots of victory conditions. Oh, this is number 11. Okay. End of game 9. Oh, I'll have to kind of. The Germans win in one of the following ways immediately. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. This is a big one. Look at that. 18, 2 maps, 18 turns. This is like a old school scenario here. So there's 2 pages for this. So there's Americans, like this whole section here is Americans. And then, oh my goodness gracious, that's a lot. 18 turns. Dang, dude. I'm not sure if I played 18 turns of ASL total. Oh, well, now I'm showing you all the German, but sorry. Anyway, but you didn't see the Americans. But so the same amount of like Americans over here. It's 9, 2, 8, 12 different sections of Americans, roadblocks, guns. This is a hefty scenario. Holy mackerel. That's pretty cool. Ridgway's Mission. So they put it on 2 so you can have them side by side. So that's cool. And then number 10 was Not Apt to Drag Feet. That's a pretty beefy scenario, actually. 22 American squad, 24, some guns, 105s, 8. Yeah, that's a hefty scenario. 8 turns, there's a lot of equipment on there. All right, let's take a look at the maps here. First thing we'll do is we'll look at some up close just to kind of see. So, Fauville, it'd be fun to look these up and see. Well, let me get out of the zoom mode here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of like, well, they look like normal maps. Well, they do. There's nothing too crazy about them. You get some little details like the passage in the bocage here. But the towns are, like the roads are here, and that's normal. You see that occasionally. But the towns kind of more reflect the number of buildings in there and all that. And kind of along, you got your gully there. Again, this can all be represented on a geomorphic board. It's just fun to see it, mapped as is. I think there's might be some sunken terrain in here too, sunken areas. That's not showing you much there. 2 little lakes there. Those do a whole lot. Just think you go around. A little bit more water situation going on here. Some canals, streams or something. Okay, all right, let me turn this off and set these up on the floor here and we'll see what we got. Yeah, 88 inches of all its glory. Look at that. That's pretty cool, man. I just suddenly got really excited about that. I don't know what happened. I was like, oh, that's cool. And as I started speaking, I'm like, look how awesome that is. I mean, that's sweet, dude. Now, the problem is, I got this new game room, and I'm using one of my big tables for a mini game set up here behind me, and I got that set up with some ASL SK. But my table's 6x4, so that's 72 inches. I need 16 more inches. Now, the cool thing is that little table there, I got a 3x4 board that can sit on that just to make it a little bit bigger of a table. I can set that up. So I can set it up and then put that at the end of the table. And I did that on purpose, obviously, to allow for me to expand that table so it can be 9 feet. So got that covered. So I can do that. That's pretty cool. So now I think what I'll do is I'll zoom in and maybe what I'll do is So we'll just move along here on the map, try to be as still as I can, as easy as I can on the map, so I don't punch a hole in it. There's St. Mary Eglise right there. Maybe what we can do here is, let me move this other map. A little bit of glare there from the light, sorry about that. St. Mary Eglise. Maybe what I can do is, let me show you the rest of the map, and then we'll zoom into St. Mary. Okay, now let's zoom in on St. Mary Eglise and see what we can see there. So I'm going to handheld here. It's going to be a little shakier, but St. Mary Eglise. There's the chapel, the church of the Assumption. Graveyard, that does some interesting things. Courtyard there, or not a courtyard. So I think, I have to look, I think for some reason I feel like that's sunken. Like this is higher than that, but I'm not totally sure. So, because the darker green, I think this is normal, this is level 0, and that's -1, I think, but anywho, I'm sure someone will leave a comment on that. But the towns, you'll see that, like, you know, how big these buildings are and the spacing, and it's just grouped like a town is, right? It's interesting they're all stone. I guess not, though. I guess in that area. I'm surprised there's not, like, wood buildings out, but I guess maybe in Normandy, man, they're all kind of stone. I've kind of heard that. And, you know, in this kind of farm, probably area over here. It's a crazy road, and, you know, it's obviously a very important, you can see why it's so important, you know, coming off the beaches and going inland and stuff, so. Okay, that is that. Let me do something else. Okay, this is cool. So this is out of the book Sand and Steel. Great book, very much enjoyed it. But it's cool, so you can see, so here's Utah Beach. These are the 82nd Airborne landing. This O is the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment. So St. Mary Eglise is here on the middle map. The south map does not go all the way down to La Forge, so it's probably all right here. The north map does cover Nouvelle Plaine, and it's about 1/3, so that other map ends about here. So you can kind of see the importance of that area there to protect from any German counterattacks and to open up the road, because you can see the roads all kind of come here to St. Mary Eglise. They're going to do other drop zone scenario packs too, and I'm not sure where they're going to be covering. I don't know if they're going to cover like these two here and then all 101 or 101, 101. I don't know, 101. So, because I know this was a battle here. Some of these were battles. There's some battles that happened all around here. So, yeah, like the battery and stuff. I don't know. So that's pretty cool. It's just fun seeing it in context, where it is, the importance of it, why they was fighting for it, and the Germans were counterattacking. So just real quick here, I tried to got all these books out, and so Sand and Steel, Peter Caddick Adams. All right, that's it. That is the St. Mary Eglise drop zone for Advanced Squad Leader. You know, if you don't play Advanced, this would be weird, but if you don't play Advanced Squad Leader, you could use the scenarios. I mean, it's 60 some bucks to pay for it if you're not playing, but you could use the scenarios for other squad level type games. The problem is the hexes are a little smaller than many of the other games, like Band of Brothers are huge, and a lot of the other counters are huge. But if you play minis, it might be worth it, because you got some great research here. You could design some scenarios around that. Excuse me. You know, you can put three units in a hex, and you could figure that out and kind of scale it out how you'd want to in a miniature game. I mean, you could play ASL in miniature too. I think that's so much work for how complicated the game is, and it's not worth it to me. But anywho, so you could use it for other things, but it seemed to me that'd be a lot of investment for that. But you do get 11 super well-designed scenarios. They play test the heck out of them. They're, you know, I'm sure they're not going to all be golden, but they're going to be good scenarios. And the campaigns, so there's a lot of material here you could use as a miniature gamer if you wanted to, or if you wanted to use these for other, you know, games. Again, the hexes might be a little bit of a problem because they're going to be smaller. So for like lock and load, and I guess you could use them for, ATS, because the games are so close, you could pretty easily port them. But I think, again, I think those counters are actually bigger. They are actually bigger than this too. So anywho, that's that. ASL for sure. It's a no-brainer. I think I convinced Jeff from Hex to Hex to get it just so he can spend money. I'm trying to take him into debt and ruin him as a person, destroy him. But anyway, that's that. Enjoy it. And I'm sure you're going to see some really cool ones from Neil, from Stu, from, I'm missing some, 2 half squads. You're going to see some really good unboxings of this. I'm sure Erdwolf will do one. But, I had to put my 2 cents in and see what it was like. So that's it. We'll talk to you. Bye.